Wholesalers, are you losing money and not knowing it? Well, I believe you are, because I'm seeing plenty of wholesalers in this current market who are not checking the values of their homes properly. So I'd like to set the standard and help get people better at understanding what they need to do to check the values of a home, to get the ARV, the as-is value, to do more fix and flip deals or novation deals. How would you choose the right comps? How I think of choosing the right comps is an entire process. We need to be able to think like an investor plus an appraiser to give the most accurate values, to get our deals to sell faster, make more money, and gain that trust we need with our buyer to do deals consistently. What I'm doing to look at these deals, whether it's a fix and flip or a turnkey property, for any kind of transaction, most importantly, checking the days on market. I want to see all the soonest sold properties. So I want to break it down to 30 days, 90 days, 180 days. I want to check the soonest ones first and the farther back ones last. I'm seeing how the market has changed over time and see, is it going upwards or is it going down or is it staying stagnant, not making any changes? We need to be able to have this proper analysis of these sold properties, as well as looking at the currently listed properties or the pending transaction. So we can have an idea, okay, well, it seems like there's a huge amount of supply right now and not enough sold properties going on. Or there's a bunch of solds going on, but there's not many listed anymore. It seems like the market's drying out over here. You can see what is going on for when you're buying a fix and flip, and if you're going to be able to sell this potentially fast by also seeing how many days on market were those other properties taking to sell it, and seeing what was going on by potentially communicating with realtors in the area. If it's a new market that you haven't been in, you need to treat it just like you lived in that market and find out as much as possible on what's going on in certain pockets of certain cities, neighborhoods, street by street blocks. It's going to be very important to know when to look at an entire neighborhood, or like, let's say a little square mile area or street by street, because you're not going to know the entire area for everywhere in the country without consistently learning and talking to experts who know more than you. While learning from others, we're finding out, all right, so these block by block areas are more in city urban areas, or it could be richer areas, and it could be more ghetto areas as well. It could be a mix, like where there's one street, there's 500,000 houses, 5 streets down, 250, and then another 5 streets down, it might be 50,000. You never know what's going on in each individual area, and you need to be very disciplined on providing similar homes by checking what property type is the one you're looking at. Is it a bungalow, colonial, ranch, 2-3 stories, and be able to see the sold comps or pendings on if those are actually similar, because this is what's going to give you the most accurate value of the home. You can't match a ranch with a 2-3 story house because they don't bring in the same value. I'm not saying one house is worth more than another as a standard, but in certain areas there might be personal preferences. If there's a lot of old people in a certain area, they might prefer a lot of ranches. If there's bigger families with 6-10 people, it might need a bigger house. What is going on in your market? What is the preferences that creates the most sales? Because your buyers are staying specific on which kind of homes they want to buy, and the more you talk to your buyers, the more they're going to tell you about how they look at these deals. When you find out their criteria, you can use their thinking and match it up with actually evaluating these deals. So now that you are utilizing this, you want to make sure you're not only utilizing the style of home similarity, but want to check the year built, the square footage of the home, the bed, bath count. Does it have a garage, a carport? Is the style of kitchen granite, or what kind of countertops, what style of floorings, what kind of layout of the house is it? Every small detail about these houses of your subject property, plus the sold comps and pendings, that you're looking at, you want to be able to have very distinctive memorized comparables playing a matching game. With this matching game, if there's not exact matches, you're going to have to be able to be flexible when there's not exact matches. When there isn't like the same bedroom count, let's say ours is a 2-bedroom and we wanted to get it to a 3-bedroom and our comps are a 3-bedroom. We can't get a 3-bedroom in there, so we're going to have to bring the value of our subject property $10,000 less. And if it was 1 bathroom less, it'd be the same thing, under $10,000. But let's say it's a more expensive property. For that, under like subtracting $10,000, I'd say that's for under $500,000 houses. But for over $500,000 houses, it might be $20,000 to $25,000 in value you're missing out on. So if you could figure out how to fit those in and add some extra bedrooms, it'd be a great potential value add opportunity. That's one thing you could be doing, but then you got also the garage, carport. It could be like right behind the main road or like facing the front road next to a lot of cars and noises, which people decrease the value on as an appraiser because people like to live in a great neighborhood. You're going to have to subtract it by 15 to 20% because you're on the main road and all your comps are actually in the neighborhood. Here as a quick example that I want to give you guys is, let's say someone's buying a house for $100,000. They're getting a loan for that $100,000 plus $40,000 in rehab. Let's say there's a few different comps. They're trying to make a certain amount of profit. These comps that we're looking at, I see 4 different ones. They're all the exact same. Let's say our subject property is 3.2 now, 1,500 square feet, and all of our comps are 3.2, 1,500 square feet. Doesn't typically happen, but it might be the case. Even though all the comps are 3.2, 1,500 square feet, one sold at 210, one sold at 230, one sold at 225, one sold at 237, and let's say one sold in 30 days, one sold 3 months ago, one sold 2 months ago, one sold 6 months ago. So there's a range of these different values and it seems to be consistent. We take these 4 prices that they sold at and we divide that by the square footage. So if we take 210 divided by 1,500, that'd be 140, and then we could do the same thing with the 3 other ones I just mentioned. If I get the average of those 4 price per square foot, it'd be 150.33. So the 150.33 times that by the 1,500 of our subject property, 225,000 ARV approximately. It could go up or down based on those bed and baths, the garage, possibly the lot size or different quality of materials inside the house. That's why we got to make sure the 40,000 in rehab we put into helps get it to the style of the home that's selling for 230, 237, so we can make the most amount of profit. Hopefully this example brought value to you, but I want to make sure that you understand it's not going to always be perfect scenarios like this, and the comps could be hectic where there's too many comps or very little comps. You may not understand the area very well when it's an out-of-state transaction. I want you to take into consideration looking at the school district, the crime rate, and the actual income in the neighborhood so you can see what's going on from one spot to another to make the smartest decisions for your investors to provide the most accurate value or provide a range of value, because there's no exact value. So let's try to get it as close as possible for our investors and let's create some more deals. I want you to keep on practicing this. I'm going to create some more videos soon of me doing this live in action, checking out the values of homes so you can actually do it live with me. If you need help reviewing a deal, underwriting, send it over to our email or website and we'll be able to help you get that transaction with the right numbers.